Welcome back to another purposefully packed episode of the Pretty Purposeful Podcast. I'm your host, Angie Melange.
And I'm your co-host, Candace Mabry.
You guys, it's episode 4. I cannot believe we are almost halfway through the season already. Can you believe it?
No, I can't. We are flying.
I know. In the last episode, Dr. Henry, oh my goodness. Y'all, if you guys did not check out episode 3, No One Is Coming to Save Us, check it out. Dr. Henry left a lot of gems. That was just an amazing episode. Welcome to all of our new subscribers. Thank you guys. And we're just so grateful for everybody who has subscribed, shared, liked. Definitely check out some of our past seasons. We have a lot of good content. And of course, share with anybody that you feel the topics will resonate with. We greatly appreciate your support. So what you been up to, sis?
I've been doing well, Angie. I am just trying to breathe and take it one day at a time because I'm on the road all the time.
Yes.
So with that being said,
yeah, you're always traveling. So where are you at right now?
I am in North Carolina.
Okay, all right.
What have you been up to?
Oh, I want to say same old, same old. I know that's boring. You know, I'm not really boring. I'm purposeful about my turn up now. I'm purposeful about my fun. But this just hasn't really been the week, I'll say. I have a very demanding job, and then also editing this podcast and, you know, keeping up with the social media. We do everything. You know, Candace and I, we are a two-woman team, but we do 15 or more jobs. And so, that keeps me out of trouble, though. It definitely keeps me from spending unnecessarily, which is good because I'm boycotting right now. But, you know, staying busy and with purpose, not just busy doing anything, like busy being purposeful. That's what I've been up to. So this past weekend, we had our first outdoor event. We actually partnered with Teens on Point. You guys may remember Shakur Cooper was on our Forgotten Youth episode last season. And he is just doing a lot of outreach right now in the community, trying to pull, you know, other resources together so that we can collectively get through everything that's going on in this country. But aside from that, just really set our youth up for success. And so we were really happy to have the opportunity to partner with him. So we're going to show a little bit of that footage right here. Dynamic duo, the host of the Pretty Purposeful Podcast, coming to you live with the positive pull up.
The positive
Pull up.
It's the positive
Pull up. All we need is you right here. Okay. All we need is you right here. Pull up.
It's the positive.
Hey. Shoot it, bum, 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 bum. Hey. What brought you out here today?
So I actually was informed by my dad that he had this event that he was going to help out. So when he had told me, I said, okay, this seems pretty cool. You know, I like helping out with the community and stuff like that.
What's something that you're proud of about yourself right now?
Come on! We gifted. We have a gifted young man here. We got some screwdrivers for you.
Screwdrivers, brand new.
And we have for you a putty knife.
Can't go wrong with the putty knife.
Get every day that we get to tap into the minds of young men, especially young Black men. Right. We don't get that. And just to have you here with us right now, it is an honor to be able to actually hear your perspective. We as podcasters, we don't typically have young people on our platform. So this is really a blessing for us. And it's going to bless our audience too, especially those out there who have young people. I have a teenager, you know, she's a young adult. You're a young adult.
So we definitely need to hear your thoughts right now, especially because there's a lot going on in the world right now. So we want to make sure that we're in tune with what's going on with y'all.
You could learn any skill or trade right now. What would it be and why? Oh, he said I am learning a skill.
Okay.
I know that's right. Yeah, so tell us what skill you're learning. Okay, you said electrical. Perfect. You want to tell us a little bit more? Or I think that's pretty much good. Okay. So you're about to start an apprenticeship. That is in July. Okay. There was a young man that said, living a purposeful life to him means not wasting, your life. And what I'm hearing you say is like you ain't out here wasting your time either.
Right.
So that is awesome.
What is one thing that you wish more adults understood about teens like you?
There's a lot of people that ain't have what's going on. And they're not even stand for themselves or actually have to do things on their own. Get to where they need to be on their own. So it's like actually having folks there actually help you out of situations better
Living testimony of one saying you can come from anywhere. I've been in foster care from the age of 3 to 21, aged out. But I say I got in control. But I never had my parents in my life, so I'm an easy gullible, you know what I'm saying? But I say after I graduated high school in 2022, I ended up getting locked up for aggravated assault robbery. I sat in jail for a year. I wasted 40 years. Never thought I was going to see a day of black in my life again. I kept on praying. I opened the Bible, kept on talking to God. And one day they gave me a second chance. No income monitor, no bond, they just let me go free.
Jesus.
So the fact that I was able to get out of jail and turn away from this, to become something like that, I just want y'all to tell y'all keep on going. Because it's never the end. Jesus is King. Amen. I love this podcast. It's going to blow up the top. In Jesus' my name we pray.
He is, amen. Hey, we touch and agree. This young man, listen, this is what I mean. This is what I'm saying. Oh, honey, thank you so much.
21.
You're 21.
This is what I'm saying. And living, breathing, walking testimony of what is possible. And you see this man is centered on God, okay? He at the center of his life.
My Instagram is Cut of Faith. On Instagram, Cuts of Faith. CUTZOF Faith.
Oh, I love that. Cuts of Faith. That's a divine purpose right there, okay? Cuts of Faith. And we're going to support, we're going to actually follow him on Instagram. And if you're on TikTok, we're going to follow him there too. But that's what I'm talking about. Every young man that we talked to today, every young man, representative of our community. Those of y'all who are watching, if you're in the Atlanta area, set your teens up for success and link them up with Teens on Point, because they get more than just trade skills. They're getting mentorship. They're getting financial literacy skills. They're getting a job readiness. I mean, this young man just said that he was in foster care all of his life. So could you imagine not having the support, the familial support that one really needs to be successful? But here he is supporting the community. God is good. Mr. Shakur Cooper here, y'all. You might remember him from last season. He came on and shared his story and told us all about Teens on Point. But tell us why we are here today in the park.
Yeah, check it, man. We call it Positive Pull-Up. We trying to get not just the community, but the community teams, right? Everybody stay in Zone 4, they're going to do Zone 4. I want all us to come together to do Zone 1, 2, 3, and 4, all the community. So we're going to put the IES on the community, right?
Put in the IES in communities.
That's powerful, and it's so needed. And that's what time we on right now, Coop. That's why we're here. If you're watching this right now, follow Teens on Point. That's Teens with a Z on Point, y'all. Follow them, support them, donate if you can.
That was so much fun. Oh my gosh. What was your takeaway from that whole experience?
I can't even explain how fulfilling that experience was for me. I left away from that event not only feeling fulfilled, but just completely inspired. I met so many, like you said at the event, young Black kings that were living not only for a purpose, but living to make an impact. There were people there, okay, there was a barber there giving out free haircuts. All right. There was just so many different aspects. And for this to be the very first positive pull up with Teens on Point, I think, oh my gosh, the future is very bright and I'm excited to just see it grow. It's only up from here.
It's only up from here. And, I just, me personally, I'm used to doing outreach in the community. So it felt great to be back in my comfort zone. Like that's, for me, I miss that. And those of you who know me, y'all know how I used to do in Pittsburgh. I was always doing something with the community, doing things that I know are deep rooted and meaningful to me that I don't have to think about it. I just show up, and however God wants to use me, I just let God use me. And I think when we first got there, sis, it was just a lot of guys, of course, Teens on Point is predominantly young men. Even though it wasn't a girly girl event, our presence was definitely appreciated. And all of the men were so respectful. And from the very time we first showed up, the young man that was cutting hair actually helped with, carrying some of our stuff and helped set up. And then afterwards, they all came together and helped us pack up. So again, it was just a real demonstration of what community looks like. Those young men absolutely taught me something. I learned a lot. I learned that our young people want to be heard. And when they're in their spaces and they talk amongst one another, that's their audience. So they may not be so serious, but the questions that we asked these young kings, and they knew that the audience was going to be adults, they really were intentional and purposeful about their responses. I felt like I got a sense that they really wanted people to really understand them. And so I walked away with a better understanding of today's youth or young men. It was an incredible day. And I'm looking forward to the next pull up. We'll keep you all posted. When we left the event, we had leftover fruit. And so we decided that we wanted to be purposeful with that and that we were going to go and drop off some water and some fruit to the homeless. And so when we did that, we met this very dynamic man, homeless man, who was just brilliant. And we spent some time talking with him. And so, we asked him, well, of course, we didn't want to record anything, exchanging, giving him food and water and all that. But after, conversing with him for some time and realizing that there was an opportunity for us to help him in a greater way, we asked permission to take his picture. So this is Kev, everybody. Those of you who are in the Atlanta area, you may have seen him before. Just talking with him, he has a very powerful story. He's, as far as I'm concerned, he is the epitome of warrior. Because,
you said it correctly. He is definitely a warrior. Kevin is incredible. Like you said, he is definitely a warrior, and he has been through many ups and downs. And I am so grateful that me and you had the opportunity to meet him firsthand. I know when we brought him that fruit, he was so grateful, because I remember hearing him say, "Oh, give me the juiciest watermelon that you have." And I firmly am a believer in giving foods that love you back. I'm so happy we were able to provide him with foods that would love every cell of his body right back. And it was a very special moment between the three of us. I think he felt a safe space when we arrived in our t-shirts, our purple t-shirts that said our whole motto. He could sense, I think, that we weren't just anybody, but we were really genuinely there. We cared. And he actually had some stuff going on He's currently battling an illness in his feet. So he's a diabetic. He had some experiences in life to where he now has an infection on his foot. He was incarcerated for a short amount of time. It was something really petty that it wasn't even like it was solely his fault from the way that I remember it, but he ended up getting incarcerated due to just life. And he was only there for a couple of days. By the time he got out, he ended up getting a staph infection. And now, to anyone who knows that if you are a diabetic and you receive any type of infection on your feet, that is very, very serious. That is something that you cannot take lightly. And with diabetics, depending on how soon or how long you've had it, if you do not get your feet checked out, or if you don't look for sores almost every day or every other day, sometimes a lot of diabetics can't really feel any infections or feel any open wounds on their feet. That's why they have to get that checked out. And so in his case, he's been a diabetic for over 20 years, but he's always, like, when we went up to him, he was toned, upper body and everything. He's toned. He works out. He sent us YouTube videos of himself working out. He definitely knows what it is like to lift heavy weights. But he ended up getting a severe infection on his feet that made his feet, it's almost like his calves have become swollen. So
it's called cellulitis.
My
grandmother used to have that. Yeah. A lot of diabetics actually have that condition.
So he mentioned it was a medication that he needed to help with the pain because he is in some severe pain. So he mentioned the medication to Angie and myself that he needed. We looked on Amazon and we went ahead and got that. We went ahead and got that for him. And just the other day, I received a text from him saying how he does feel a difference just after taking it from the first day. And when I say that made my week, that made my whole week to see that he was feeling better. Because if you just look at the condition of his feet, you could tell that he is in some serious pain. He's been to the ER, he's been to multiple hospitals, but they did not give him any type of resolution. He's applied for Medicaid, he's applied, I want to say, for disability, but he's just been declined. And it's just so unfortunate because he's did everything that he could possibly do.
Right.
It's just life is lifing right now. And he's in a condition to where he can't even walk.
Yeah.
His support is not there. His daughter is in another state. She's going through some things of her own to where she can't see to her father. Yeah. So we have made it our business. We have made it our purpose to help Kevin get back on his feet again. And we just want you all
literally and figuratively.
Say that again.
Literally and figuratively get on his feet.
We want to help him get on his feet again. We need you all to help us in this initiative. We have contributed a lot towards Kevin's, maintaining so just to try to help keep his pain levels down, but he definitely needs more help. So we're reaching out to you all to help lend a helping hand. We created a GoFundMe account. We are going to show a quick video, or at least, show a picture of his GoFundMe so you can see how you can contribute to Kevin. And we'll keep you all posted on the progress that he's making.
Meet Kevin. We met Kevin last week after a community outreach event, and his story really touched our hearts. He's been battling a severe case of cellulitis and complications from a staph infection in both of his legs. He's been dealing with this pain all while facing homelessness on the streets of Atlanta. Despite everything he's going through, his spirit is still strong. He just needs our support for his healing journey and so that he can get some basic stability. Every donation counts. Tap the link in our bio for more information.
He's right here at home, y'all. We just did an episode on community. This is what we mean by community. You know, we are our brother's keeper. We are our sister's keeper. When I seen Kevin, I immediately thought that could be my dad. That could be my brother. That could be us. It could be us.
I mean, and he's brilliant. When I tell you, just talking with him, you could just tell, you know, he knows that God is not done with him. And I believe, you know, it is his belief in God that is really sustaining him mentally, because to be out there, you know, in the elements, the sun, the rain, people, you know, other homeless people, you know, he's encountering a lot of adversity daily, but it doesn't, you know, change his spirit, you know, his hope. He is looking forward to getting through this because he knows that God has a purpose for him. And one thing that stood out to me, I noticed that, you know, he kept saying, you know, I know you all may think I'm just this, or I know you might think I'm just that. And I'm like, we don't think that at all. Like, we literally we're not looking down on you. Like, we're not judging you at all. We just know you're a human being that is suffering right now in so many ways. But I was just inspired by his spirit, that just the fact that he is because let me tell you something. Some people haven't went through a fraction of the physical, mental, spiritual, emotional things that he's dealing with daily and have taken their own lives. So for this man to still be there and to sustain the pain internally and deal with the issues externally and still persevere, God has a plan for that man. And I thank God for us having it, being intentional and purposeful about helping, you know, the homeless that day, because we didn't know we were going to meet Kevin, and we didn't know we were going to hear his story and, you know, that God will call us to help him. So Purposeful family, please share his story. If you're able to contribute, please contribute. The GoFundMe will have details, you know, what Kevin needs, aside from obviously money to help get him back on his feet. But this could be anybody's. This could be anybody. This could be any one of us. And like Candace said, a staph infection from a petty minor, you know how, let's just say, heck, you could be protesting one day, because there's a lot of that going on. They detain you in jail 24 hours. You get out on your own recognizance. Maybe you don't even have to pay bail. You're just there overnight. And while you're there, I'm going to put him out there. Fulton County Jail is where he got the staph infection from. The conditions there are inhumane and deplorable. Okay, so that could be one of us, you know, could be in there overnight, get a staph infection, and then life is just happening. It costs money when you have a health condition or illness, you know, to sustain your health. You know, you're battling an illness, your body's fighting, and that takes a lot out of you. So I just feel like I just look forward to seeing Kevin, you know, getting back to walking, getting through this, and, you know, living out the rest of his life, doing what God called him to do.
Yes, Kevin, he is a genius. Kevin is a genius. He's a genius.
Yeah. Right now, we're going to get into this episode. This episode is all about redefining success. Slow grind or fast lane. For those of you, again, who know me, know my journey, you know, at one point in time, I was pursuing chasing fame, wanted to be a famous singer, songwriter, performer. And that was my drive. It was just to be famous because, you know, you grow up watching TV and you see people that you're inspired by and you want to, you know, you look up to them and you want to be like them. And then I came very close to Hollywood. And I changed my mind quickly, and I changed my course, my path. And I thank God really for giving me that insight, because not everybody that is pursuing a career in entertainment gets that, you know, real life experience to see behind the veil of Hollywood. Everything that's coming out in the media today about celebrities in Hollywood and how, you know, some of them aren't as rich as we think they are. There's a lot of predatory, you know, behavior and, you know, all kind of things that go on that are coming to light. But about a decade ago, I had the opportunity to, you know, being very close to a very popular rap artist, had the opportunity to see the lifestyle, and it turned me off. It turned me off of fame. And I said, you know what? God gave me the gifts that I have for a reason, but clearly this is not the path that he wants me to take. So I had to step out on faith, and that's what I've been doing. And while I may not be widely known, I've definitely stayed the course and been purposeful in using my gifts, and just look forward to continuing to do that. So I say all that to say, y'all, that our next guest today is also a man of many talents, who, like myself, is not chasing fame. He's chasing purpose. He is trained in theater, classically trained vocalist. He's an educator, and he's a creative visionary. He holds a degree in business management and classical performing arts from CUNY, and he's just as powerful behind the scenes as he is center stage. From managing theaters to teaching the next generation how to merge business with art, he's on a mission to make his creativity count. According to him, art is our last hope. And today he's here to tell us why. Cousin PJ is here, you guys. Welcome, Cousin PJ, to the Pretty Purposeful Podcast.
Like, oh, they talking about me? They talking about me?
Talking about you. What's up, Cousin PJ?
What's going on, cousin?
I'm just like, the fact that you're here, gosh, just thinking about when we first met, you guys, I met Cousin PJ on the set of a movie called A Mother's Intuition. You guys may recall, was on Lifetime. I think they re-aired it on TV One. Tamar Braxton was in it. Long story short, Cousin PJ and I just connected, and I'm so grateful. Having met him, never knew that there would be a day that he would be joining us on this podcast, but you know, all things are ordained, right? So it obviously was meant. So welcome, Cousin PJ. Hello, audience. A little bit about yourself and what makes you want to be a part of this episode today. What brought you here?
Thankful. So, first of all, before we get started, I just have to give you all your flowers and say shout out to you and congratulations to you all for doing an amazing job. This is the fourth season?
The fourth season overall, yes.
Okay, fourth season overall. That's that. I was doing a little math. And I, you know, I've seen the growth. It's amazing what you all are producing here, because it's just a reminder that it's what we're talking about today lived out, right? Like, when you desire to be intentional and to be purposeful, you make these connections, you make these meaningful moments and these meaningful relationships that transcend the industry, that transcend making a quick buck. You know, it changes people's lives. So I'm grateful, I'm grateful for your light and what you're doing in this space. So thank you for having me. Thank you for being interested in my story, and just wanting to hear my journey. So thank you.
Absolutely. Please continue. Tell everybody what brought you here. Tell us your background.
For sure. Yeah. So my name is PJ. I'm a creative. At my core, I'm a storyteller, and I just use multiple mediums to tell those stories. I think the Most High has blessed me with a few gifts, and I leverage those gifts to make people's lives better as much as possible. Sometimes that's through singing. Sometimes that's through acting. Sometimes that's through producing. It just depends on what the medium is. But it's always something different. And I do my best to be a good steward of the gifts. So yeah, I'm excited to be here, because I think my journey definitely has been unconventional. And as you described about fame earlier and being clear about what one's intention and desire is in the industry, that's something that it's been a salient point of or a guiding force, I should say. It's been a guiding light. And when you choose that path, sometimes you encounter some dark days. And I think the dark days come regardless, but it's just a matter of what path you're on. I think there's a scripture that says something to the effect of it's better to suffer for righteousness' sake. So I'm not calling myself righteous. I'm just saying that I know some choices that I've had to make. The path less trodden, for sure.
speaking of, the challenges, how have those challenges really shaped your artistry, and how have they shaped your purpose?
That's a very good question. Um, I had to learn through trial. Three things. One, to mind the business that pays me, to take myself seriously. And when people show me who they are, as Dr. Angelo said, believe them. Now, that doesn't mean, because people say, oh, you're moving different, you're moving funny. And it's not necessarily that. It's just you have to move accordingly. When someone shows you something, you can't, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. So it's like, I think what people get shocked about is the fact that when they're seen, I don't think people are often prepared to be seen for who they are and how they are. And so when one responds to that, they're like, oof, it's like, whoa, like they're kind of thrown off because they're expecting you to go along with the get along, right? They're expecting you to go along with this facade that they have created, and oftentimes it's just a projection, or it's like being gaslit. So I think for me, in terms of my journey,
that's a word.
I think in terms of me, in terms of my journey, those 3 points have absolutely shaped how I involve myself with projects, what I decide to take on, because ultimately at the end of the day, not only am I responsible for myself, but I have other people that I'm responsible for. So because of that, I don't have the luxury of moving through life frivolously. I have to. It has to make sense at all times, and again, that doesn't mean that there isn't a period of investment. That doesn't mean that you don't do things for the passion if the money is not necessarily there. Because again, it's actually not about the money at the end of the day, because there are multiple types of currency. So when you're minding the business that pays you, a payment is not always a monetary compensation. Sometimes you get a spiritual payment. Sometimes you get the payment of that social capital. There's multiple types of capital. Google them if you don't know, but just know that through something, it has to be reciprocal. Just knowing that you're pouring in a certain way, and that you're not wasting, that you're being a good steward over whatever it is. That gives you peace of mind. Peace of mind is currency. Peace of mind, you can't pay for peace. You can't pay for peace. I know people are multiple millionaires. They don't have peace. And you could tell by how they behave that that's what they want, And so, I think keeping those things top of mind help to guide a lot of my decision making when it comes to projects that I participate in, even how I cultivate all relationships, and I'm not just talking about intimately, platonic work, whatever it is. Whenever I meet somebody, my first thought is, how do I give this person some money? That's what I want to do. And what I'm really working on is treating everybody like a child. What do I mean by that? At some point in our lives, it happens around 13 years old. There's like this switch where, expectation and becomes an encumbrance and a burden on people. And we stop treating people lightly and gingerly. Now, some people, even from childhood, are not born with the fortune of even having a childhood and knowing what it's like to exist within that innocence. However, generally speaking, most people get to enjoy that period of time. But because around 13, 14, 15, 16, shout out to my high school babies, we start to impose adulthood on people, and we stop treating them like they're children, because they're not children, right? Where there is a period of putting away childish things and stepping into your adulthood. But what I'm meaning is handling people with a certain amount of care. That shouldn't change. And so when I meet people, I try to treat them like a child. I try to see the kid in them, because that's really what we're serving, right? Inside of all of us, we have a child. Some of the children inside of us are wounded, they're hurt, and that's who we're really speaking to. That's who we're trying to get to. So, and then there's a conversation of what people think they need and want, right? So there's the idea of what people have in their minds about what they need and want, and then there's what they actually need and want. And somehow, some way, you have to find the pathway for those two things to line up. So leading life with that level of intentionality, it really helps to shape how you move. Because I'm thinking it's actually quite, because I'm thinking about my energy. The energy is the highest currency. So it's like I have to, every moment, the present, and I said this earlier today, the present is so important. I'm a bit of a futurist. However, I don't necessarily have gotten away from that, but I realize how beautiful and how important it is to be present, because this is what we have. We're here right now. I'm here with you two beautiful ladies right now. How can I be the best person, right? The best version of myself right here, right now? If I never see you again, what is my legacy? That's my legacy. How I treated you right here and right now. And so when you go through life and you treat people like a child, and you try to handle them with that level of tenderness, you're going to get that back. And now, don't forget, every kid wasn't nice in the sandbox for whatever reason. Even that child was loved. I went to the fast food joint, and I was getting some wings, and this lady, she just wasn't all the way there. The customer service wasn't 100%. I'll tell you, I'm not the easiest customer to deal with, because I often have specifications. Mm-hmm. I often have specifications, right? I want things modified. So I get it. I can be a handful at times, right? But again, I could just tell that there was something. I could just tell that there was something off with her day, because of how she was handling me. And so I walked away. They were making my order. I came back, and when she proceeded to hand me my order, she was bawling, crying, just like when I tell you, like just all the tears, like it was literal lake coming out of her eyes. And I asked her if I could give her a hug, even after she had, kind of mishandled me. But I felt that in my spirit to show up for her, because, who knows what she was going through in the moment that led her to that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, this is what I mean when it's like treat people like children. It's not absolving them from accountability, but it's simply saying, what's going on? Because in that moment, if I would have turned up back at her, who knows how that could have, turned into something else. And we wouldn't have had that moment of vulnerability where she allowed me to show up for her, right? Because I asked her if I could give her a hug. And she kind of cried in my arms for like a good minute, So it's like how we respond, how we treat people, how we handle things. It's all important. It's all connected. And I don't want to sound all hippy dippy like PJ gets it right all the time, because I'm still a New Yorker. So if we in traffic and you wilding, like you might get another side of PJ. You might just get another side of PJ, okay? Because everybody knows traffic's my pet peeve. I don't do, but I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna work on it. I might not be there yet.
I feel
I'm gonna work on it.
Too. New York is a whole different level. So yeah.
That's a whole different beast. Man, cousin PJ, you on the roll, my friend. I do have a question for you. Since we're talking about, the topic is slow grinding or getting into the fast lane. So my question is, do you mind sharing an instance where choosing the long road taught you something invaluable? Take your time. Yes. Because that's a heavy question.
Yeah, no, it's real. It's real, because I don't recall a time where I've taken a shortcut, really. If you know me, I'm the king of a hack. So I'm gonna find, if there's a way which is different from a shortcut. A hack is like, let me see if I can quickly come up with an example. A hack is like getting, if you like, okay, so let me give an example of this, and then we'll get to the other example. So I've been doing my best with my weight shedding process, right? And so a part of that is eating more healthily. And so a hack is, yes, I'm going to drink my green smoothie every day, but instead of spending $9 for it every day, I'm going to go to Tropical Smoothie from 2 to 4 because that's when their happy hour is, and get it for $5.99. You see what I'm saying? Instead of paying the $10, I'm paying $5.99. That's a hack. That's a hack. See, it's not a shortcut. It's a hack. So I'm the king of the hack, king of the hacks. But oh man, they're how? Let me see. I think the journey with raising my nephew, who within my family dynamic, he's my nephew, but by law he's my brother, which is like a pickle to think about. So let me break that down really quickly. My foster mother is his biological grandmother. So this is my foster adoptive sister's biological son. And so when he was 8 years old and I was 18, I assumed a full-time co-guardianship role in his life. So essentially I became a full-time parent at 18 years old of an 8-year-old. And I laugh because he's a large reason why I actually ended up in Atlanta, right? He got into Morehouse College, and he needed some support, so that was part of the reason why I came down here. He's 22 now and he has his own place. But I just think about how I kind of forwent my 20s, and there were a lot of times I didn't really get to do what they were doing. And I don't want to say I'm trying to catch up on that a little bit now, because I thought I wanted to. Then when you it's like, oh, I don't. This is actually not what it is. But I bring up that experience because I feel like in a lot of ways being a parent was my saving grace. Like knowing that I had somebody I was responsible and am responsible to. Is super important. And I asked him, when I first when he first got to Morehouse, and we were leaving him for the parting ceremony, and I was like, so what does this mean for our dynamic? Like, am I your brother? Am I dad? Am I gonna go back to being your uncle? Like, who am I exactly to you? He said, well, you'll never stop being my parent. And I was like, wow, like that let me know, like, oh man, yeah, this kid believes in me. Like I really gotta show up. And I say, the reason why that's my brother, nephew, son, as I string that all together, is because I was never comfortable sharing my sister's journey with the world. She went through a period of substance abuse, and that is not who she is to me. She's been clean for probably over 10 years now, and has been making leaps and bounds in terms of her recovery, and just being the woman of God that she's meant to be. But nevertheless, when I was a child, when I was 18, people would take issue with the fact that an 18-year-old always had his nephew with him, because this was my second semester of college, and this kid is always with me. It's like, why is this kid with you? You're a kid. So just to make it simple on people, I would say that's my brother, because he is legally, that's my brother. And it kept me from having to explain my sister's story, right? Because even to this day, that's, like I said, that's not who she is. That's not her circumstances. Is not who she is. It's not who she was. That's what she was going through. That's how she was coping with her set of life circumstances, whatever she had been through that had led her to that. And I didn't feel like it was fair for people to dismiss her or her journey because of what she was going through or how she was handling life at that time. But it made for an interesting dynamic, because you're balancing being a brother, a nephew, an uncle. It's like, and then, a father-son type of a thing. And so to this day, he's never stopped calling me uncle. Actually, he calls me uncle. And that's who I am to him, and I know that. But I think that it didn't force me to take the long road, because I chose it. I think in life we're all presented with opportunities to, I don't want to say bear a cross, but to choose what our journey is going to be. And sometimes life will force you into tribulation. And sometimes you can acknowledge what's going on and say, okay, this is the path I'm gonna go. And I had numerous mentors. There were a couple of times that I kind of wanted to throw in the towel, especially during undergrad. Especially during undergrad, and I had to have a couple mentors, I don't say talk me off the ledge, but just tell me like I'm doing the right thing. And I think those two men telling me to stay the course, stay the path, investing in your brother, who's my nephew, is a really solid, sound decision. You're not going the wrong way by doing this. And those were the words that I needed to hear at that time. But I think that, again, it was my saving grace, whether I want to think of it or not, because I had to. When you have to provide for somebody and you feel that responsibility, that weight, it shifts how you move. You don't move a certain way. But I think what it has made for is an interesting re-entry into society. As a bachelor, as all the different things. It's like, PJ out here, but he not out here. And it's like to talk about how you forwent a lot of things, right? People don't really understand. It's like, what's really going on? But then I had to tell the whole story, and it's just that right there is another reason why I'm like, let me just focus on this Munyon. Let me just focus on really being like the best version of myself and allowing whatever I attract, whatever vibrates, supposed to be there. Let me let it happen as it's supposed to. Whatever is supposed to. It was this quote from this book. And it said, I'm going to do my best to get it right. It said, accept how things are as how they should be. So, yeah. Accept how things are as how they should be. So, cousin, earlier when you said that you're abolishing definitely and amazing, or working towards getting those out of your vocabulary, two words I'm working on abolishing are try and should. Because what is should? And I don't remember who did this. I was probably reading one of Oprah's books. I feel like The Path Made Clear is one that I read recently, her book on purpose. I'm not going to call her Auntie O, because she does not like that, as I've heard in interviews. So I'm going to call her Cousin Oprah. What is should? Like, I'm right here, right now, on this podcast, talking about amazing things in this air-conditioned room. This is what should be happening right now. You know what I'm saying? We didn't try to do this; we did it. And people hold themselves to these standards of, oh, this is how it should be, or that's how it should be. And it's like, no, like, release yourself from that. Release yourself from that imprisonment, because I have every sob story. So, if anybody had an excuse, it would be me. But trust me, you gotta keep moving forward. You gotta keep pressing and just stay focused on what your goals are, and be clear. Be clear about what it is that you really, really want. That's how you redefine success in my book. You redefine success by accepting that there are no plan Bs. There's only a plan A, and every road conspires ultimately to your plan A. So long as your plan A is in alignment and in agreement with your purpose and what you're actually supposed to be doing in your life. When you have to pivot, that's fine. Pivoting is fine. There's nothing wrong with pivoting, but it all goes back to your plan A. The only time you change that is if you wasn't doing something you were supposed to be doing in the first place. Like, if you have a gift to be in culinary art, but for whatever reason you are a stewardess for Delta Airlines, get in the kitchen and bless us with some collard greens, because that's what we need. We need collard greens.
Gotta get in the kitchen, okay? Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there are people right now, in jobs and working, doing things that are not in alignment with their purpose. And it's, again, we have to abolish what we think should be, because, again, like you said earlier, a lot of people are chasing fame. That's what they want. They think they want fame, not realizing that fame does not pay the bills. It's how you leverage that fame that will pay your bills. And it's what you do with celebrity, right? But the fame itself, exactly, the fame itself is not going to pay. A lot of people want to be seen. If you want to be seen, okay, cool, be seen. That's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But be clear about that. That's what you want. Because in 2025, it don't take much to be discovered. It don't take much to be famous. I could slip and fall right now on this floor and put some music behind it, and I will be famous. Trust me, I will do it in such a dramatic way that people will be like, yo, did you see Ball? He felt, yeah. You can have that if you want it. Viral in a minute. You know what I'm saying? But people got to be clear about what it is. If you're supposed to be a singer, okay, cool. Yeah. Be a singer. Do that thing. I heard somebody else say, if you really love something and if you're really supposed to be doing something, you're going to do it without the attention and you're going to do it without the budget. And that's so true. I am a witness to that. I'm a witness to that.
You are
a witness.
Preaching
I'm a witness.
Our soul.
Yeah. It's real out here. You know, it's real. It's real. It's all love. It's all love. This life is short. I learned that very young. And I feel like you know, when you go through a lot young, and when you learn certain things pretty young, you move differently. You see things differently. And sometimes it can be lonely because it does kind of feel like nobody else gets it or nobody else sees it. Nobody else has those experiences. So how could they? But then you meet beautiful people like y'all. You meet people who have been through a similar experience, or at the very least can empathize on that level. And they give you some comfort. You just hold on to that for dear life. You keep it, you put it in your back pocket, you tie it around your neck, you put it in your whatever you put it in, you turn it into a cologne or an oil and you spray it on you. You just keep that and you don't let it go. You hold on to that light, and that's what's going to get you through.
I just want to say, because of PJ, as long as we've known each other, I never knew your story. And the fact, the congruency between your story and mine, it explains a lot. It definitely is a testament to how we connected and why we connected. And like you said, that empathy, a lot of that does come through, you know, our lived experiences and being able to be resilient and persevere. And I feel like, wow, now that I know this about you, it's just like, I don't know about you, but just hearing how you've had to step in, you know, and fill the gap for your brother, nephew, son. If I said it right, I don't know if I said it right.
Yeah.
The same way that you stepped right on in there, I feel that many of us who have come up through, you know, foster care, we don't have that familial support. And so God has this amazing way of, you know, connecting us with those who are, you know, they say that there's relatives and then there's family. And so it just all makes sense to me right now. Like I'm sitting here like, yeah, Cousin PJ's name is Cousin PJ. That's how he introduced himself to me. But now I fully get it. It totally makes sense to me. And I personally have been on this journey of, you know, allowing God to bring those family members that are supposed to be in my life. And I just want to say, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful to know that we do have that in common, because and Candace knows, like her life and her upbringing is the complete opposite. And I know, you know, I've been able to share the things that I've gone through that has helped her to kind of understand and, you know how to approach other people, you know, with different lived experiences. But to actually be speaking to someone who actually gets it, like you truly, like to me, it's like we need to have those conversations. We need to allow space for people to share those lived experiences, right? I just wanted to make sure that we captured everything that we could in this you know, episode about success, because clearly you're on a path. And we're, you know, I just feel like at this point it's the purpose. And I will be talking about fame being a byproduct, right? We don't really know what the outcomes are. I think people get so stuck on the outcomes, and it's like, no, enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey. That, like you were talking about, the present, that is so powerful. And that's, to me, I feel at the core of being purposeful is knowing that there's a greater, our slogan is on purpose, with purpose, for a greater purpose. We never define specifically what that purpose is. We just allow it to be. We just show up and allow it to manifest how God has ordained it to. We don't know the details, but we just trust and move with that, always at the center, at the core of what we're doing. So,
amen.
Cousin PJ, you've described your life as a 3-part Tyler Perry movie, highlighting the challenges that you faced. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Whew. That's a great question. Yeah, I do jokingly say that, and I also say jokingly, historically, my life had been a 3-part Tyler Perry movie, right? Because I'm no longer claiming that drama. Not to say that Tyler Perry's movies are drama, but come on, when you're diehard Tyler Perry fan, you know what to expect. You know, come with it. So it's levels. My favorite movie in the world is one of my top 5 is The Family That Prays, starring Alfred Woodard and Sanaa Lathan.
That's
Cole
a good
Hauser,
one.
Robin Givens, and Kathy Bates. Just it's a star-studded cast. Rockland Dunbar. So Taraji P. Henson, obviously. But so anyway, drama filled, right? Come on. This is not a sub, because people always look for something to drag you for. So I just want to make sure it's clear that it's all love when I say that. It's an acknowledgement, really, especially because Mr. Perry, cousin Tyler, has been such an inspiration to me, and I don't like how media will try to drive wedges between the communities of color, and just specifically the Black community, when we're all working towards the same goal. Nobody knows the battles that people fight in silence or in the dark, behind the scenes, just to make a semblance of something exist. So, something on that level that he has erected is amazing, and I'm grateful. But to speak toward what I would say to my younger self, oh my God, PJ.
Little PJ.
Little PJ.
Oh man, little PJ.
PJ.
Oh my God.
If you could just whisper in your younger self's ear, if you could just go back in time at a certain point in time and just whisper something that would just maybe save you from, some heartache, or save you from some thoughts of depression. Because I know when I was younger, I didn't know what depression was, but I felt it. I did before I ever could name it.
Yeah. I guess I would. There might be a couple of things that I would say. I actually went through anger management very young. I was like 7 years old when I began anger management.
Wow.
Which is kind of wild to think about, but that's another story. One thing I know about myself is I'm a fierce advocate, and I'm learning more to advocate for myself. But in a heartbeat, when it comes to advocating for somebody else, I'm ferocious. Like, one thing about and I recognize that in the both of you all too. Just especially with this initiative that y'all had this past weekend, like sometimes it can be easier to do for others than it can be ourselves. But I'm learning more and more, like they say, well, when you're on the airplane, put your mask on first. Me helping myself is helping others. Me taking care of myself is taking care of others. So I'm really learning that. But man, listen, when it comes to making sure that others, especially Black women, are cared for and safe and taken care of in a certain way, I become a different person. But that's neither here nor there. Let's stay focused. Little PJ, just breathe. Take a deep breath, PJ. Take a deep breath. You are not what they say about you. And this too shall pass.
Yeah. And everything you just said can still be applied today. So powerful. Very powerful.
Mm. We ain't gonna
So
do it. We ain't gonna do it. We ain't gonna do it.
yeah, because that's heavy. It's heavy, but it's very profound and necessary, because even though, like you said earlier, that we all are really like that 12, 13-year-old kid still here in an adult body. And I do find myself having to have those moments, and having given little Lella, as my family used to call me, some words of wisdom, because sometimes she will put her head out every once in a while, So
And that's a beautiful thing, that you continue to nurture the kid in you, because so many people are removed from that, and society is really good about, especially in our country, is good about making everything sexual, and as human beings, we're made for intimacy, heightened intimacy that's not sexual, so there's also an intentionality to unsexualize people, no matter what one's orientation or preferences are. When you meet somebody, it's like you have to like you have to search for the kid in them. You got to get past the boom boom pow pow pow. You got to get past, you know what I'm saying, all that is, right? Because that's just the presentation, because there's a kid in there that's yearning for a hug. There's a kid in there that's yearning for somebody to just say hi to them and acknowledge their beauty. There's a kid in there that needs somebody to show up for them and say, "Hey kid, I see you." This is what my high school babies teach me. This is what my college babies taught me. Like, I just think about one of my students who tragically had her life taken from her during the pandemic.
wow.
In her home, at the hands of her stepfather.
Jesus.
God only knows what she was going through prior to then, prior to that moment, right? Because what we know about domestic violence and abuse is that there were often things occurring prior to, like when a big blow up happens, that's usually like the is this the right word? Penultimate moment? Like that's just the climax, right? But there were things that had been happening all along. So I just think about all the hell that Soleil went through prior to that. You never know what people are going through. So we really there's so much undoing that we have to do, and rewiring and reprogramming, and just, again, that's why with this podcast being the Pretty Purposeful, like it's pretty purposeful and perfect, because it makes you think about that intentionality. Like, how are you living your life? How are you moving? Like, and people might say you dragging it, you're too hippy dippy, whatever. Call it what you will. But this is our legacy. I don't know if I'll ever have children biologically, but I do know that whatever I plant that's positive, that's gonna be my legacy. My legacy is gonna be love. That's what I want my legacy to be. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So Cousin PJ, thank you so much for stopping by, for sharing your heart with us. And before you go, we just want to know what you have going on right now, and where our Purposeful family can find you.
Okay. I've been on a social media hiatus. We kind of chatted about this a little bit with my intentional reemergence and building a thing. And this is what I wanted to share with our audience. Social media is not what it used to be. All right. When we were talking about it, we were like, we had MySpace. Okay. We had a top 5. We would create our profiles and have fun on there. Like, it was a whole different. We had AOL. We had chat rooms.
Yep.
If you I had a Yahoo account. I had an SBC Global account. Okay. I'm an OG for real. But nevertheless, social media is not always the fun place that it used to be. So if you're not leveraging it for some type of platform or something like that, you could be using it improperly, or not. Maybe if you just enjoy being there and being a consumer, that's fine. I'm not judging you. But for PJ got things to do, so I don't always be out there. But you can find me on Instagram at cousin PJ, peanut butter jelly, pepper jack, pajamas, projects, private jet, PJ. Because people people will do PJ, LJ, BJ, SJ, everything but PJ. But it's cousin PJ and the number one. You can give me cousin PJ number one on Instagram. And as of I want to say around June, late June, mid July, you will see a reemergence happening. Starting with this podcast is gonna be the first thing that I begin to promote and put out there. Because I think this is a great way to have like a bedrock and cornerstone so people can kind of see the journey. But yeah, that's when you'll see more content coming out. Because there's a what do I call it? There's a series that I just finished shooting recently that'll be coming out, so we'll be promoting that. I'm doing a few things. I'm working on things behind the scenes. I'm working on things in front of the camera. There's, like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of stuff I can't talk about because I didn't sign NDAs, and if you know me, you know that I'm the first person to ask for some paperwork. If you bout your business, you're gonna sign the paper and you're not gonna hesitate to do it, because that's how you keep people as friends. Sign the paperwork, like sign it. Like let's move past it. Let's respect people. Let's give people, what they deserve, right? And I want people to know that when you're interacting with me, you don't have nothing to worry about. Like, yeah, let me sign an NDA, let me sign whatever, so that way we can really work on the work, versus you having to worry about other stuff. But so yes, we do have that project coming out. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to do another episode with y'all. And once stuff is ready, once stuff is out, and I can talk about it for real. I just did Actors Got Next Up. I made the top 24 of about 500 applicants, for this talent competition, and it was super dope. It's the first time it's ever been done. Think American Idol, but for actors. We just had the premiere recently, and that was great to catch up with all those folks and see how they were doing. Everybody's doing well and is working on things. Stay tuned. Watch the Pretty Purposeful podcast. If you stay tapped in with my two cousins right here, cousin Angie and cousin Candy, you'll be just. Can I call you Candy? I called you Candy. I know your name is Candace.
Candy. That's what my mom calls her.
I didn't sing too much because I know for copyrights, I don't want nobody trying to,
We gotta get together. We gotta do a brunch, maybe some karaoke. We some singers. I'm grateful for you. We know you have a busy schedule. You got to go, but I do just want to again thank you so much for taking time. We would love to have you come back on as a guest, but also consider us for a panel in the future, because your voice is needed, your perspective is needed, and we're really. Not only is our audience our purposeful family, right? We want to be able to have people that we can collaborate on an ongoing basis that are aligned, that, and likewise, if you need us for something, like, please, right, Candace? Like,
that's right.
Let us know. Like you were saying earlier, it's not always about money, right? It's those emotional deposits, right, that really matter, the spiritual deposits. And those are the things that are sustainable. Money comes and goes, but these things leave a lasting imprint.
Thank you.
So let me because I'm thank you. Right now. I really could go for a big tight hug right now. Gosh, you guys.
What Monique used to say at the end of her show, put your hand on it and squeeze yourself over top. We all just been hugged.
Yep. She did. Oh my gosh. Does she still do that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh my goodness. She's another one. She is another one. Very resilient, very intentional, and very purposeful.
Yeah.
You may see people progressing faster than you. You may see people appear to be surpassing you in life. But oftentimes when you see things rapidly take off, it doesn't always mean that there's a shortcut. But sometimes things happen because maybe a person is operating out of survival mode. Maybe a person doesn't really have the faith to walk and be, steadfast in their journey, and they're just wanting that instant, gratification, or they want that instant, success. But what I've learned, as cousin Oprah would say, would she say, what's the name of her book? What I Know for Sure?
Yes.
Okay. What I know for sure is that, similar to being on a highway and being in the fast lane, you miss a lot. You miss a lot. When you're in the fast lane, you don't get to take in the surroundings. You just like, it may even just be a one track, whereas when you take that slow, I don't want to say slow, but when you take the intentional journey and you're open to whatever the road may bring, you learn, you get to encounter different experiences, different people, and you gain those as, wisdom. It ends up being the price you pay. It's not really a, what do you call it? It's a sacrifice, right? But it's not a bad thing because you actually gain. But if you're in that fast lane, you don't get that opportunity to encounter those same experiences. So you may get to your destination quicker, but you may not be able to sustain that position because you've missed those lessons along the way. So what usually ends up happening, and this is what I know for sure, is that when people do take that fast lane, they end up having to come back anyway and go through all of that again. They have to, at some point, if they're not able to sustain that success that they got, they will have to backtrack and go through. And so that puts them further behind. So really the fast lane isn't really fast after all. It may give you that, that quick hit, the dopamine that you did it, you made it, you've accomplished something. But what I know for sure about purpose is that purpose is sustainable. Purpose provides stability. Purpose provides direction. It gives you a roadmap. And without purpose, you could be in that fast lane and, if you're following somebody else or if you're riding someone else's coattail in the fast lane, you going wherever they're going and you don't know where they're going. So how are you going to get back on track? So anybody out there, and then we're seeing it happen right now. We're seeing it manifest right now. We're seeing so many people who have, quote unquote, made it, who are backtracking and now humbling themselves and trying to align themselves with people who are intentional, people who have that stable, sustainable foundation, and the ones that have sacrificed the appearance of, popularity, the ones that have sacrificed appearing to be fallen off, the people who you may assume have fallen off may just very well be holding steadfast to a purpose and making baby steps, but it's progress. Nobody can take that from you. I'm a living, breathing example of what that looks like. This episode is not to judge anybody's choices, but to hopefully help someone see that if you're going after success and sustainable success, take the journey, take the road less traveled, because I'm telling you, there are some lessons and some valuable experiences that you can't buy. Purposeful family, we are so glad that you guys tuned in and got a chance to meet our cousin PJ. But before we get out of here, as always, it's okay to be pretty,
but even better to be pretty
Purposeful.
Listen, Angie, this was not, I did not know.
Not planned, not like literally was coming to see my main man Kevin, and
Kevin, you want to say hey?
Oh, hey, Angie.
Oh, wait.
God's coincidence.
You know Angie?
Yeah.
What? Me and Angie came. Angie is the reason I know.
They came out here to give me a.
ain't no way. That's wild.
What? Yeah, I'm over here thinking I'm dreaming at this point.
That's wild. That's wild. I didn't realize that.
Angie was the one that was like, hey, Candace, I see him all the time. Now's the opportunity for us to actually come because we had extra food left over from the community
A
event.
whole lot of extra
Fruit.
water.
And she was like, hey, let's stop right here. And I was like, okay, cool. It's amazing. Yeah, I know.
So I go on.
Girl, cousin PJ pulled up and I was getting nervous because I was like, this car is like pulling up kind of slow. Oh, Lord. Oh, they going the wrong way. I was like, his face looks familiar. I was like, cousin PJ?